What is the primary purpose of Azure Resource Manager, ARM? A. To manage and deploy resources in Azure. B. To provide a graphical interface for Azure services. C. To monitor the performance of Azure applications. D. To offer a marketplace for third-party applications. The correct answer is A. To manage and deploy resources in Azure. Azure Resource Manager is primarily used to manage and deploy resources in Azure. It provides a consistent management layer that enables you to create, update, and delete resources in your Azure account. The other options do not accurately describe the primary purpose of ARM. Which of the following best describes an ARM template? A JSON file that defines the infrastructure and configuration for an Azure solution. B. A PowerShell script used to automate Azure resource deployment. C. A YAML file used for configuring Azure DevOps pipelines. D. A configuration file for setting up Azure Active Directory. The correct answer is A JSON file that defines the infrastructure and configuration for an Azure solution. An ARM template is a JSON file that defines the infrastructure and configuration for an Azure solution. It allows you to deploy resources in a consistent and repeatable manner. The other options describe different types of files and scripts used for other purposes in Azure. You need to deploy a complex multi-tier application in Azure. Which approach should you use to ensure the deployment is consistent and repeatable? A. Manually create each resource using the Azure portal. B. Use an ARM template to define and deploy the resources. C. Write a custom script to deploy the resources. D. Use Azure CLI commands to deploy each resource individually. The correct answer is B. Use an ARM template to define and deploy the resources. Using an ARM template to define and deploy the resources ensures that the deployment is consistent and repeatable. Manually creating resources or using custom scripts and CLI commands can lead to inconsistencies and errors. What is a key benefit of using ARM templates for resource deployment in Azure? A. They provide a graphical interface for resource management. B. They allow for the automation of resource deployment and management. C. They offer real-time monitoring of resource performance. D. They enable the use of third-party applications in Azure. The correct answer is B. They allow for the automation of resource deployment and management. ARM templates allow for the automation of resource deployment and management, making it easier to deploy resources consistently and efficiently. The other options do not accurately describe the key benefits of using ARM templates. A team member suggests using ARM templates for deploying resources, but is concerned about the learning curve. What is a valid argument to support the use of ARM templates? ARM templates are only useful for small-scale deployments. B. ARM templates are not widely supported by Azure services. C. ARM templates can be reused and shared across projects, reducing deployment time. D. ARM templates require extensive manual intervention during deployment. The correct answer is C. ARM templates can be reused and shared across projects, reducing deployment time. ARM templates can be reused and shared across projects, which reduces deployment time and ensures consistency. They are widely supported by Azure services and do not require extensive manual intervention during deployment. You encounter an error while deploying an ARM template. What is the best practice for troubleshooting the issue? Ignore the error and try deploying again. B. Check the deployment error message and logs for details. C. Manually create the resources instead of using the template. D. Contact Azure support without attempting any troubleshooting steps. The correct answer is B. Check the deployment error message and logs for details. The best practice for troubleshooting an error during ARM template deployment is to check the deployment error message and logs for details. This information can help identify the root cause of the issue. Ignoring the error, manually creating resources, or contacting support without troubleshooting are not effective approaches.